Welcome to this episode of In the Zone, where we're talking about eating protocols, and we are doing an individual interview with Sherry Murr, but we're talking about the same theme that we've talked about before, people who have embarked on a new eating protocol, and we're going to talk about the successes and possibly the failures that they've had with this, and how it has affected them, and just kind of get an idea of what it's like to embark upon something as impactful as changing the way you eat, perhaps even changing your relationship with food, how you view food, and that kind of thing. So we're going to start out by getting Sherry to tell us about her life or her eating patterns before her new protocol, and what that protocol is actually, and what the effect is now. So Sherry, welcome to the panel of one.
Well, thank you, Will.
All right, so talk to me about what your food was like, or what your eating habits were like before.
Before, meals were always a sandwich, bag of chips, a lot of carbohydrates, a lot of processed meats.
Okay.
I did cook, particularly when I was married. I cooked a lot. But he tended to like sausages and omelets for breakfast, for dinner, and a lot of heavy. It was a lot of heavy food. Mm-hmm. So at some point, I realized that he passed away, and then I really started to eat. Mm-hmm. I'd probably gotten up to maybe 230 or so before he passed.
Wow! And
then after he died, I'd gone on close to 240. Mm. And I realized I was looking for answers in potato chip bags and donut boxes, and where answers were not.
Okay.
But with that going on, it was just a lot of sadness, a lot of anger.
Yeah.
And saw you,
yeah.
And I liked what I saw.
Okay.
Came in, and you gave me the protocol. And I'm really, when you give me something, I tend to follow it. I'm very, okay, this is what we're doing.
Okay. Yeah, and that's important. I want to stop there for a minute. That's important for people to know. One of the commonalities that I've discovered in talking to all these people on my panel is that they start off with something structured. They start out with a structured protocol as opposed to eating by hunger, eating by emotion, eating by social engagements, and that kind of thing. So what I'm finding here is that the people who've had large successes with developing new ways of eating and new relationships with food is that there tends to be structure around what they do. So,
and that's very beneficial.
Okay.
Plus being able to eat several times a day. Mm-hmm. But I guess what I'm thinking, when I came to you during our initial consult, mm-hmm. I was 54, and I figured my metabolism was going to be shot. And I remember looking at you and asking you, is it too late? And your answer was no. We will get through this. You didn't say you'll get through it. You didn't say I'll take you through it. You said we'll get through it. So this is a team. So when you made me part of a team, then I had a responsibility, not just to myself.
Yeah. Okay.
So that triggered a little something there. Don't know if it's intentional or not, but it worked.
Yeah. Okay.
So I read over the diet that you had given, and I still have it on my refrigerator.
Okay.
And it makes me laugh because at the bottom it says, take this as a prescription. This is serious. And I'm like, okay, this is serious. And when I made that mental commitment, the rest of it has not been that difficult, because I grew up on a farm, so I know what fruits and vegetables look like.
Okay.
I know that we eat with our eyes first, and you've got all these nice, vibrant colors that are natural and good, and the cooking is not a challenge for me. I enjoy it.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of when you kind of get all of the processed stuff out of your body, you start feeling better, your joints feel better, the weight starts to come off, and there's an accomplishment with it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So one thing I just heard you say that's really important, you said it wasn't difficult. Now, for a lot of people, changing the way you eat, changing the way you view food, changing the way you relate to food is often very difficult. So maybe the fact that it wasn't difficult led to your high level of adherence, or perhaps I don't know. It's kind of odd to me that it wasn't difficult for you to change over from eating chips out of a bag to eating, organic meats and fresh fruits and vegetables, and still being satisfied. Or tell me about that.
I'm more satisfied because I feel like I'm doing something it's self-respect.
Okay.
The bag of chips is not self-respect.
Okay.
And you're always looking for something else after you finish that, because that was another thing that you explained, is that when you're not nourishing your body, then you're always looking for the nourishment. Yeah. You're always looking for something else to eat. I mean, you're just, foraging all the time because you haven't given your body what it needs.
Very important point. Yeah.
And I'm very stubborn.
I know.
And so when I made up my mind that I'm going to do this, nothing's going to stop me.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been temptations. I mean, even family, well-meaning family, will spend 10 minutes telling you how proud they are of you and say, let's celebrate, have some cake. And you're like, okay, you're missing something. So those are some challenges. But I think once you make up your mind that this is important, and you start playing with the food, you start playing with spices, you start combining things, and you learn what goes together. I never knew sweet potatoes were as versatile as they are. They're going in my soups. They're getting sautéed with other vegetables. They're sweet. They're savory. I'm just discovering something that I've known all my life can do a lot more than I thought.
Okay. So. Let me chime in on that. You make a really interesting point here, in that you can take something as simple as a sweet potato, not the food that everybody's crazy about, and you can make it enjoyable. And you've also taken in a very nutritious food. So I think it's really important for people to understand that food can be nutritious and enjoyable. So I think a lot of people believe that in order to arrive at some really healthy eating protocol, that the food has to be very bland, very simple, that kind of thing. But the point that I was going to make is that you know how to cook. In America right now, we have lost our sense of culinary adventure, and we don't cook anymore. We rely on food manufacturers and restaurateurs and convenience operations to supply us with our food. You have taken a skill that you already had, the culinary arts, you could cook, and taken a food that you knew all of your life, but just hadn't had the opportunity or the need to combine spices and skills to make that really, really nutritious food taste good to you and nourish your body at the same time.
Not all of the endeavors have been successful with the cooking, but you can't be afraid of failure. You don't know what it's going to turn out like until you experiment with it. There's a little bit of adventure. Good. Trash can get some stuff. That's okay.
Okay, so you embarked on this new eating protocol. You were able to cook so that you enjoy your food and enjoy this really nutritious food, food that wasn't difficult for you to eat, and you've made yourself healthy. Now, let's talk about how healthy you've become. I want to know how this new eating protocol has affected you with regard to weight loss, with regard to energy, or general health. Let's talk about that a little bit.
As far as the weight loss, I'm down probably about 90 pounds now.
Wow.
Which is pretty good. I'm hovering between 154 and 156.
Good. Is that a pretty comfortable weight for you?
That's comfortable. I think I'll always be chasing that other 5 pounds, just because that's human nature.
Yeah. Okay.
Try to knock a couple more pounds off.
Yeah.
My knees no longer hurt. At one point was a candidate for knee replacement. They don't bother me nearly like they used to.
Okay.
Flexibility, I think you can agree, is increased a
Oh,
little
yeah,
bit.
tremendously. Yeah. Yeah. And I want to make a point too about flexibility. When you get more mobile and more flexible, you're less likely to become injured when you move your body into positions that you're not normally moving them into. So flexibility is so important, and you can't overemphasize how important it is for anybody at any age, especially us over 40s, how we need to maintain our body's flexibility and mobility so that we can get in positions that would, afford us the opportunity to do a new exercise, to make our exercise regimen even a little more interesting than before. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about your health. So you said you've lost about 90 pounds. How long have you maintained that?
Oh gosh, I've been at this current weight probably the last 3 months or so. I would, going from memory.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's good because I'm stable there.
Okay.
The other thing I was going to mention to you as far as eating and eating habits is I have learned not to eat until I'm completely stuffed, to wait, because food doesn't just drop from your mouth into your tummy. I mean, there's travel time involved. And you can become full, but you need to give yourself 15, 20 minutes. If you're still a little hungry, then you can revisit.
Gotcha.
But that, I'm just learning how to, stop before I get stuffed.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping better.
Oh, good.
My energy level's good. My anxiety level is less.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of things that with the eating and the exercise that have just improved my overall outlook.
Okay, that's good. All right. So yeah, it's really important to know that this new eating plan has given you a lot of energy, which enable you to do more things physically, more exercise. I mean, obviously, since you've come here, you've gotten much stronger, you've gotten much more flexible. Your cardiovascular conditioning has improved, and it wasn't a really fast thing, but if you look at it in terms of how the general populace lose weight, it was actually pretty fast. But the key is that, and I want to mention this, that throughout this process of you changing your eating and working out, your weight steadily went down, 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 down. It wasn't so much of a roller coaster like I've seen a lot. And that pretty much solidifies the fact that you were doing it correctly. You chose the right foods. You continued to eat those foods. You were stubborn about them, using your words, stubborn about not going off your eating plan. And now I would suggest that you're probably at a point now to where it's pretty comfortable and it's just what you do.
Absolutely. I mean, it's second nature. I probably have not bought a loaf of bread in a year. I mean, that's, there's no need for it.
Okay.
It's, I know what I'm going for when I go to the store. It's just like you said, second nature.
Okay.
When I go out to eat, I'm careful about what I do. I'm not crazy vigilant about that. I found that I did not know MSG lived in certain foods that have a really bad effect on me. I mean, if I eat MSG now, I wake up the next morning and my mouth is so dry. I mean, my tongue is stuck to my mouth, and I'm just completely out of sorts for 2 or 3 days. It's not good. So you learn to ask to have things prepared without. So it's the social situations can be a little, friends and family, or they feel a little like they're being judged even though they're not. But that's them. So.
So now that you've adapted or adopted to this new eating protocol, and along with the exercise, what are you looking forward to in the future? How do you feel like your future plans for yourself as a 54, now you're probably 55 or 56-year-old, who felt like it was too late, that you were overweight and your joints were going to be hurting forever. How does that feel? What kind of outlook does that give you, or does it change?
It did. I mean, at one point it was just, pass the chips, pass the beer, we're done. Life's over.
Okay.
But it isn't anymore. I look at, I don't really consider my age anymore. It's more of I can do whatever I want to do. Probably a little too out there sometimes. My plan is in April to ride the mule down the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
But at one point I was too heavy to do that. They wouldn't let me on the mule.
Poor little mule.
I know. When you're too fat to ride a mule, you're too fat. But so those are things that I just feel like I'm pretty extroverted for the most part. So not going out and doing things and being whatever is me. But now I feel a little more confident about that, and the energy level is there to actually pursue some of these things.
Okay, so before we wrap up, we didn't get a lot of specifics about your eating protocol, so I want you to just kind of go over that real quick. Tell us what you eat, how often you eat, what kind of food you eat, and that kind of thing. So if someone's looking on and thinks, okay, well, I want to be like Sherry. What foods do I need to eat, and how do I need to prepare them? That kind of thing.
Well, my morning breakfast is 2 egg whites and an egg, and I know you'll be a little grumpy at me, but I do have to take my oatmeal and prepare it and take it with me to work. So I'll cook. Well,
That's not
you're
a
supposed to
problem.
be. So that ends up. My breakfast ends up being like in stages.
Okay, so that's a matter of convenience.
It is,
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
because I'm going to sleep that extra 15 minutes before.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
So I'll cook apples and oatmeal, and that goes with me to work. Lunch is usually a salad. Some protein.
What typically goes in your salad?
Oh gosh, anything and everything. I mean, if it's a vegetable, if it's raw, it's fair game.
Good.
I mean, there's like I said, the colors are there,
Okay.
the flavors are there. I'm a very seasonal eater.
Okay.
I don't like things that are shipped all over the world and have no flavor by the time they reach you.
Right. Good.
Snacks or oranges or fruit or oranges, apples, nuts. My stress eating is pistachios because you have to crack them.
Okay. That's
You
good
know?
to know, because most
So-
people's stress eating would probably lead them back to the bag of chips.
Yes, but there's no challenge in that. So yes, if I'm stressed, if you find me sitting in the corner eating pistachios, just know I'm
Yeah, it could be a whole lot worse.
It could be a lot worse.
Pistachios are excellent snack, loaded with nutrition, healthy fats. So yeah.
Yeah.
Very-
So those are the things. Dinner is typically either chicken or fish. The quinoa salad, I love that because I get the quinoa kale frozen, and then I just load vegetables
Very
in it.
convenient.
It's very convenient, but I'm throwing onions and peppers and whatever in it.
Okay.
So I'm stretching that out for 2 or 3 meals, and I'll put a protein in that. Occasional with beef, not real frequently because I don't crave it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's eating that way 3 or 4 times a day. And it's just small portions. I mean, when you think about 2 ounces of meat, that doesn't seem like a lot. But when you take 2 ounces of chicken and you combine it with a lot of vegetables or a lot of the quinoa, or it fills you up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you need to recognize when you're full.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I drink water. I drink water and love my coffee. I would have to fight before I would give up my coffee. Other than that, I'm good.
No reason to give up coffee.
I can't do it.
Okay, well, I would call that a successful switch in the way you eat and the relationship you have with food. I'm really happy with your progress. Glad you came on here to talk about that, and perhaps someone looking on will take some of your tips and experience some of the success that you've experienced.
It's been great.
Thank you, Sherry.
We're just starting.
Yeah.